And we're live. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today. Just popping some stuff in the chat. Okay. So today is a big day for the Rhetoric Masterclasses. It's the first time that we have 3 speakers, which is very exciting. So today is going to be about the UK-Europe Rail Freight Corridor and how it is very important rail freight road kind of for industrial shippers both in Europe and in the UK, as it connects truly the whole of Europe. So before we dive in, I would like to present to you how Livestorm works while we wait for the last people to connect as well. So this platform is pretty nice. So you can communicate in the chat on the right corner, sorry, on the right bottom corner. You can see the tab of the chat. So you can say hi and communicate with other people. You can also, right next to it, you have a tab question. So you can ask your questions there directly, and we will take them at the end of the webinar. And if you see someone that asks a question that you find interesting, you can click on the little upvote button, and then it will go up in the list of questions, and we will take it first if we see that there is a lot of interest. And you will also have some, we also have some questions for you. So you will receive some polls during the webinar, and you will be able to answer directly in the polls tab, again, at the right bottom corner of your screen. Just for your information, so this webinar is currently being recorded, so you will receive the replay in an email that I will be sending you after the webinar, so probably this afternoon, latest tomorrow. You will have the contact of all the speakers of today, yeah, this is going to last around 45 minutes, kind of, maybe a bit longer if we have a lot of questions. And yeah, you will have everything in the recap email, including the replay. So if you need to leave in the meantime, that is perfectly fine. Let's move on to the interesting parts, our speakers of the day. So we are joined by 3 amazing speakers, Fabien, Elisabeth, and Patrice, on top of myself, who is going to be hosting that webinar. So I will let you guys present yourself quickly to the audience. Maybe we can go by order of appearance. So let's start by Fabien.
Hi everyone, I'm Fabien. I'm, as it is written, Operational Director in the Federation Norlink, which is promoting rail freight and inland waterway barging in Hauts-de-France region.
Great, thank you, Fabien. Elisabeth, next.
Hello everybody, so I'm an International Project Manager at Eura Logistic, which is a center of excellence in logistics and supply chain and a tool of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the region Hauts-de-France.
Amazing. And Elisabeth, unfortunately, does not have her camera on because she's taking some time off from her own holidays to be here. So thank you very much, Elisabeth, for that.
You're welcome.
We can see your face right here. And Patrice, to finish.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Patrice. I am a union representative. My workplace is Eurotunnel. And I am environment and project support coordinator. So I've got a story to tell you. The story, it is a few years ago, I got concerned about climate change. So I talked to individuals, to organizations, and the support is unanimous. So I will be very pleased to talk to you about my story. Thank you.
Wonderful. Excited for that. We'll begin with you. So
Okay.
very, very small suspense. First, I will present myself as well. So as you can see, I am event and content manager at Eversense, and we are the ones hosting these webinars. We're doing one every month now with various speakers from the rail freight industry. And just a small word about Eversense, if you don't know us yet. So Eversense has developed what we call a TVMS. So it's basically a transport management system, but with a layer of visibility on top of it, and that is dedicated fully to rail freight transport. And our goal is to digitize all the rail freight transport processes and operations to make them easier, smarter, faster, and to truly help industrial shippers in their rail freight transport. So we're French and we're based in Lille, so French North region. So we know Fabien quite well, and Elisabeth as well. Yeah, you will be able to have some more information about us in the recap email. And if you have questions, you will have my email as well. Just so you know, this webinar WaveTech Masterclass is within the concept of the WaveTech community, which we launched quite recently. And so it means that you're all part of that WaveTech community, which is a community made for rail freight professionals. It's for you guys to be able to meet and connect and network and exchange your knowledge and your skill set, basically. And this webinar are part of it, where we invite experts to talk about what they know and to share their knowledge with everyone. So let's dive into the topic of today. Once again, if you have questions, please ask them in the question tab, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. So today we are going to speak about a very specific part of Europe, which is, as you can see on this map, circled in red, the tunnel between the UK and Europe. So what we're going to do is, Patrice is going to start by explaining to us how currently is it going with the tunnel, everything that we need to know to truly understand what we're going to talk about today, and the implications for industrial shipper, the rest of Europe, etc. We're going to have some time to discuss that as well with all of our speakers of today. So Patrice, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I think I'm going to go to the next slide there. It must be mine.
Yes, exactly.
Voilà. Okay, so my presentation will demonstrate how developing the rail freight between Folkestone and Wembley will benefit the society. So I'm going to start with two pictures. The one on the left, it is a motorway jammed with traffic alongside an empty railway. And the picture on the right, it is a map of the railway network in the UK, but proportionate to its volume. So the yellow line indicating the volumes, wider the line, bigger are the volumes. And what we get from this picture is that we've got a well-connected and well-efficient network in the UK, but to the north of London. We know there are volume on a route if the route can accommodate big trains, efficient trains. What we get as well from this picture is there are no volumes to the continent. So let's have a look at the direct route to the continent. It is made up of two branches. It connects the yard of Wembley in London to the yard of Dolansmore in Folkestone. But the corridor does not accommodate European gauge freight trains because they are big. And on this corridor, the bridges are too low, tunnels too narrow, and equipment on the side too close from the track. So consequently, only specific wagons, only lower gauge, lower deck wagons can run on this corridor. So they are expensive, they are difficult to find on the market, and you put less goods on top of them. So inefficient and expensive, businesses prefer using the road transport. At the port of Dover and Folkestone, it is millions of lorries that are coming from and going to Europe. But it is a trade dominated by foreign road transport companies because they use cheap labor, So the competition is fierce. The drivers and their bosses do not pay tax in the UK, so they do not contribute to the maintenance of the roads or to the economy. So things have to change. The British logistics sector must capture the trade on the short threads. The government must invest and upgrade the corridor between Folkestone and Wembley to enable the trade to go by rail. So it is possible, and the cost is only £50 million. So to avoid any confusion, we need to mention the other direct route to the continent. It is a passenger route. It is HS1. It is a route that brings Eurostar to Europe. So this corridor also accommodates freight trains, but it is limited and restricted because the route stops in parking, because it is expensive, because causing delay is expensive, because freight run at night, and because heavy train cannot run on this corridor, because there's a gradient. Trains have to be separated in Dolansmore. But this route is very important. And we must ensure that we can develop this route. We must increase the volumes to benefit the society. But the game changer that will, where we're going to capture the market on the short threads is the Folkestone to Wembley corridor. The next picture shows a rail freight network in Europe, well connected, efficient, that must be connected to the rail freight network to the north of London. And this picture shows the rail freight network in Europe connected to China. In fact, Europe is committed to invest 10 billion euros to improve the middle corridor. And during the last G20 summit, Joe Biden committed to build a corridor between India and Europe. So to benefit from this significant trade opportunity, the rail freight network to the north of London must be connected to the continent. So it is possible, but the W9 loading gauge on the Wembley-Folkestone corridor must be upgraded to W12 standard. So what is the loading gauge? But it is not the distance between the track, that is a track gauge. The loading gauge is a physical space that a train requires not to hit any obstacles. So in the UK, the standard is W. W6 to W9 do not accommodate European gauge freight trains, but W10 and W12 do. So this development will benefit the society at large. It will provide a fast and reliable access to the continent, meaning cheaper import, cheaper export, leading to cheaper product on the shelves for the consumers, leading to businesses more competitive on the European market. So more trade, more activities, more jobs. And it will help businesses to lower their carbon footprints. So they will attract customer and trade. They will get access to green financing, to cheaper money. The government and independent organizations have always stated that developing the loading gauge on the corridor will see a significant increase of traffic. But the government said there's no money available. But things have changed. HS2 phase 2 was abandoned, but the government committed to redistribute the £36 billion budget available to local transport projects. So the corridor Folkestone-Wembley must benefit from it because it offers a very high benefit cost ratio, almost 10. It will remove almost 600,000 lorries journey a year. In fact, it will displace it to the benefit of the British logistics sector. And the investment required is only £50 million. So this will see up to 35 trains going to Europe, 35 trains coming from Europe per day. It will see up to 10 million tons of goods to and from Europe. And this in an environment where freight is buoyant in Europe and is set to increase by 30% by 2030. So 30% by 2030, it is 1 million more lorries on the roads. But we all know that the roads cannot cope. So the freight must be shifted from the road to the rail. So it's possible in Europe, possible in the tunnel, possible to the network to the north of London. But we must make the connection. We must connect London to the continent. And 1 million more lorries on the roads, the planet cannot take it because the road is the main contributor of CO2 emissions. And the fuel replacement and technology are not ready. We cannot decarbonize the road transport. In fact, we can decarbonize the road transport if we collaborate with the rail. Rail for the long distance, because less CO2 emissions, lower energy consumptions, and road for the short distance. Because for the short distance, technology, fuel replacement are ready. A lorry can run 100, 200, 300 miles on green energy. Then the driver can go home every day. He will enjoy quality of life. And he would have contributed to door-to-door zero emission transport. Did you know 60% of the trade between the UK and Europe pass through the port of Folkestone and Dover? It's a trade worth £264 billion. But 88% of this is in the hands of foreign road transport companies. But the rail transport can capture the market on the short threads. Rail transport can connect the UK to Europe, to China, to India. But we must organize. ALICE, a European program, invests in research and development and commissioned pilots all across Europe. One of the pilots highlighted that the trade between the UK and the north of Europe was bigger than the trade between the north of Europe and the south of Europe. The potential is huge. But as far as the British logistics sector is concerned, there are no benefits. The only sectors that benefit from it are the foreign road transport companies. They send millions of lorries to the UK. And people living near Dover, they feel the pain. They are stuck at home because the roads are jammed. And they witness lorry drivers stuck for hours on the side of the motorway. So no welfare or little. And road congestion has a cost. £6 billion for the freight sector only. And Operation Brock. It is a system implemented by the police when the ports are blocked. They shut the motorway and it becomes a giant lorry park. Operation Brock costs £250 million per day. So we can only contrast this high cost with the one-off 50 million to develop the corridor Folkestone-Wembley that will see some of this freight shifted from the road to the rail. Developing the corridor will see containers to the doors of the businesses. They will have to manage these new volumes. They will have to invest. But it will be green financing, access to cheaper money, access to foreign direct investment. So this will boost the economy and create jobs. Since January, the maritime sector has to comply with the European emission trading system. 40% this year, 70% next year, and 100% in 2026. And in 2028, they will have to comply with the UK ETS. This as a cost, it is passed to the transporters, to the consumers. But businesses who would have organized to try to Europe by rail will see no cost increase. So it will be cheaper import, cheaper export. Brexit has complicated custom checks. The custom checks for international rail freight is completed at the port of origin or port of destination. So it's a big advantage for businesses. So what happened until now? A lot of discussion, a lot of presentation with leaders, stakeholders, organizations. The interest and the support is big. But what next? What can we do? How do we make it happen? And now that is Isaac. Isaac is my grandson. Isaac is a symbol of the next generation. And I stress that developing the rail freight will offer a stronger future to the next generation all across UK, all across Europe. Environmental, economic and social progress will be brought about by the development of the rail freight. But action are required. Action are required now. So my question to you is, how can your company, how can your organization play a part to this transformative transport model? Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Katia, over to you.
Thank you, Patrice. It was very, very interesting. A very good way to start and to truly understand what we're speaking about right now, the implications, and once more to stress the importance of supporting rail freight initiatives, which is what we're all trying to do here and that we're striving for. As well, as you said, it's for both future generations and to try and act toward less carbon emissions in our transports. Because as we know, unfortunately, road is often considered easier or quicker or simply the easy option, when actually rail can be a very viable option and profitable as well, and much better for the environment. And so, of course, we need to have investments as well on that part. Thank you very much for that. What we're going to do now is move on to Fabien. So we're going to leave a bit the UK and move towards France and North region, which is truly key in that axis that we've just seen. Fabien, leave the floor to you now.
Thanks a lot. I'll try to add a new chapter to the story told by Patrice, which was very interesting. I'm really happy to be here today to talk to you about the Hauts-de-France region, which is a pretty interesting place when talking about freight transport. It's a real hub where lots of motivated people and organizations are working together to boost the connection with the UK, especially by using rail. At least we try. Our region is unique not only because of where we are located, which is a good start. But also because of the way everyone, business, public authorities, many other stakeholders are working together to push for more rail freight. Today, I really want to show you how Hauts-de-France, through its rail infrastructure, its rail service offering and more, but also in its with its network of stakeholders, is a key player when it comes to building competitive rail freight services, especially for companies looking to strengthen their ties with UK. So let's start with infrastructure network. As transport professional, you know this. An efficient infrastructure is at the heart of any successful freight operation. In Hauts-de-France, we've made some serious investment to make sure that companies can really take the full advantage of what we've got. There is still a lot to do, but there are already many to already done. Ports, terminals, rail links, these are well known in the cross-channel sector. So I won't bore you with these basics, but what's really important to remember is that the three best places to cross the channel, whether it be Eurotunnel, Port of Calais, or Port of Dunkirk, are all located in our region. So this is first things to keep in mind. And once you cross the channel, then you land, coming from UK, you land in a region packed with really top-level infrastructure, not just for getting across, but for moving goods through the rest of Europe also, very long-running trains. Along the coast, and you see it on the map, we've got some rail motorways to reach loads of destination. You've probably heard about Eurotunnel, of course, but also Via, Cargo Beamer, and they're a huge player in our rail infrastructure. If I go a little bit further into the hinterland, as seen on the map, you've got Port of Lille, Delta 3, Port of Valenciennes, are all connected both to national but also European rail network. And if you go down to the south, then les Ports de l'Oise are linked with the Seine River infrastructure, Aropa Port, for example, and this also allows to connect the river and rail infrastructure, making it easier to move good in a multiple way. And when you look at the landscape made by Patrice, you really see that it's very important. Let me just give you some few figures. We've got in our region nearly 3,000 kilometers of rail network, 290 freight trains running every day. That's about 20% of the whole freight train in France. They are going through from or to our region. The rail share of our region is about 18%, which is actually double the average in France. At the level of some other country in Europe, you will say, but in France it's double. Our coastline and the port and the Channel Tunnel handle more than 100 million tons of freight each year, and specifically the cross-channel flow, that's over 60% of the market, and hopefully we have the same figure with Patrice. That's a good thing. When we look further inland, then you see that all the ports in the map handle more than 30 million tons, and the Canal Seine-Nord, which is not really visible there, but that will happen to exist, will even boost this in the region with 4 public ports and 10 private ones. Many of these will be connected to rail, so that's really a very good connection. That is a situation of infrastructure oriented on rail in our region, Hauts-de-France. But what really makes this infrastructure works is also a dense network of services connecting our region to Europe and beyond. Then this is another type of map, more of a network map. You all know the cross-channel network. No need to bring it to too many detail there. But just a quick reminder, the short strait, and this is the middle part, is the shortest and the most efficient route towards the channel, rail or ship, which is very, very important to have in mind. And once again, when the goods land on our side of the channel, then you reach a region that is super well connected to the rest of the world. And you have here on the slide, I don't know if it's really visible there, but on the left part, all the parts of the world that are connected by maritime transport through Dunkirk, but also on the right part to other parts of France and Europe by rail and inland barging. And we should not forget, and it's already been touched upon, the long-haul rail freight with China, with India, from Delta 3, for example, but some other place in the region. And if you look at this, there is 43. We've counted it, 43 destinations from our region in combined rail transport. You have 36 inland barging routes dedicated to container, so that's quite nice. So if you sum up everything, it's around 246 weekly departures in our region by low emission modes, which is quite nice. When I say combined transport course, I mean containers, semi-trailers, rail motorways. And so I don't even count conventional rail freight, which is huge also in our region. Of course, if you want some more specific details on this, you can check out easymultimodal.fr, which can give you some more information and some connections. Now, the third network I'd like to talk about. This one is a little less physical, but in my opinion, is just as important. Is our stakeholder network in the region. Beyond all the physical stuff, it's the collaboration between all key players that make Hauts-de-France a great place for rail freight, clearly. We are lucky, of course, to have 18 rail freight operators in the region, but we also got some unique institutions that provide real advantage. For example, there's Euralogistic, but Elisabeth will tell you more about that later, so I leave it to her. Then you can count on, for example, Nord France Invest, which is our investment and promotion agency. Their service is 100% tailor-made and free of charge, so that's always good to know. They help companies that want to invest in our region. They analyze a challenge. They offer through follow-up of the project. They find the right solution, whether it be for real estates, for strategic partnerships, but also, of course, for transport. And rail is at the heart of this. And all of this is part of the NFE mission to position the Hauts-de-France as a central hub and central player in investment between Europe and UK, as an example. And of course, the transport competitiveness there is a big draw for businesses. I will not list everybody, but we also work closely with the Chamber of Commerce, the regional councils. Both of them are really committed to promoting rail freight through investment, partnerships, events, etc. Of course, our association plays also a key role in this ecosystem, promoting rail freight, both internally and externally, let's say, as today. I think we should not forget Eversense, which is an important partner there. And just to be clear, I'm not paid to say that, but it's quite important for all the audience to have this in mind. My last point, and of course, as you know, the money is a lifeblood of war, as we say in France. Sometimes rail freight can be a little less competitive than other solution, but in those rare cases, we've got here in France few subsidy programs to keep things moving. So I really would like that all the people hearing have this in mind. For example, one thing I want to be clear about is that the Certificat d'économie d'énergie, I don't know how we can say it in English, offers subsidy for bulk and container transport by rail. You can apply for these subsidies to create new rail services or new rail traffics in France, with grants covering from 25 to 45% of the cost, up to 800,000 euros, which is pretty nice, if you ask me. And the next call will be early 2025. So this is, if you want to develop some traffics here in France, just have this in mind and look at it. And of course, this subsidy could be game changer, of course, giving the company some serious financial advantages and making the rail freight not only sustainable, as Patrice said, but also very cost effective. So to wrap up, I really encourage you to explore all this opportunity, see how Hauts-de-France can become partner in logistics strategy, rail services strategy, offering efficient and sustainable services. Thanks for your time. I'm here if there is any question, if you want to chat about how we can support your business or anything. Katja, that's it for me.
Thank you, Fabien, for this very insightful presentation. I think that a lot of people learned a lot of things. Obviously, like at Emerson, like you mentioned, we are deeply involved in the region. So this is not new information, though it's very interesting, but I think it is new information for quite a lot of people. First thing being, hold on, let's see. The first thing being is that I asked actually a poll while you were speaking to ask if people knew that the Hauts-de-France region was this well connected, and it seems like currently the winning answer is no. So it was good that you took the time to explain that to everyone. And so yeah, just a quick reminder that there are currently 2 polls up in the polls section, so you can answer these as well. I also ask everyone how do they consider the UK-Europe Rail Freight Corridor for their own transport, and it seems like crucial is winning. So that's good. We're not speaking about this for nothing. So it's interesting to many people, which is nice. All right. So we saw the UK, we saw France, and I think that now we can move on to Elizabeth and see how it is such a huge thing for transport and how we can make it even bigger. Elizabeth, I will let you the floor.
Yes, thank you, Katja. So we were going to talk about massification of good flows in Europe. So you saw the map made by Eura Logistique at the beginning of the meeting, and you understand now how the region Hauts-de-France is connected to Europe and UK. This map, just to show you that I will explain you massification, but you see curves describing distance between different points in Europe and in UK, and that will be useful later. So what I'm going to talk about is massification, and it was a topic of European project, Cluster 2.0. European project is funded by European Commission, and it was a project which involved 29 partners in Europe, The stated ambition was to raise the potential of the European logistic clusters to move towards a more sustainable, efficient transport solution in a fully integrated systems. So you understand that Euralogistic is one of these clusters, these European clusters, and we were a major partner in this European project, playing the role of task leader for this innovative approach to the massification of good flows. So why did the clusters choose to work on massification? It is because it provides an innovative and sustainable solution to encourage shippers to ship their transport to other modes, like Patrice and Fabien explained previously. And it began with Procter & Gamble because they had volumes to ship, and they wanted to have a more sustainable transport mode. So what is massification of good flows? It's about grouping together flows of goods from a group of shippers on the same transport unit to the same destination at a regular rate. Naturally, it's about consolidating volumes from several shippers to fill a train or a barge. The smaller the volume is, the more there is to consolidate naturally. It's also about developing, so in our project, a new collaborative methodology and help a group of shippers to consolidate their goods on a single mode of transport to a single destination. It benefits from both a reduced cost because it is shared and a better service rate. And we want to encourage customers, which are shippers, to opt for multimodal transport to reduce CO2 emissions, like my colleagues explained also previously. So just a few images to see what is massification. It's better with image. And natural massification provides a solution to two major current issues. So the first one is reducing the number of vehicles on the road and favoring transportation by train. And also naturally, CO2 emissions are considerably reduced. And Patrice talked also about traffic jams that we know every morning in other French region and especially in Lille. And the second point is that massification requires links between the different players in the supply chain and the development of common tracking tools, and that improve the traceability of flows, and that's also very important for shippers. So now I will go through the different steps that must be followed before a train sets off with goods from several businesses. But it's not always easy. So the first essential step is gathering and educating shippers, and it will enable shippers to meet each other. So we have to raise awareness about multimodal transport in shippers, and it's also important to have enough shippers to create a group to be able to group flows, and also it is recommended to have a neutral body because it can serve as a stable reference point throughout the project. And it is exactly the role of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and so Euralogistique can be this neutral body. So you have a few steps of the gathering and educating shippers as a first step. So the second step is collecting and analyzing shipper data and identifying the destination. So naturally, shippers involved will have to provide data of their activities, and that's not the easiest task. So they have naturally to work in a trust atmosphere to be able to share their data, and also to accept to share their data naturally. But it will be very important to be able to work on origin, destination, what are the volumes, what are the product types, and also to be able to analyze these data to define a potential common destination. It could be one destination, it could be perhaps 2 or 3 common destination, but analyzing will define that. So you see that we have to guarantee the confidentiality of the data by perhaps a non-disclosure agreement, and to offer security and safety for data, and to have trust with shippers. The third step is the study of technical and financial feasibility. So naturally, when you have data, you have to exploit them, to analyze them, and also to have an extensive research about the different destination. It will allow you to determine the cost per transportation unit, because naturally we want to encourage shippers to use rail, but it should be also cost effective, as also Patrice and Fabien said previously. When you have data, that's a good point, but it's also good to visit the different terminal, perhaps 1 or 2 or 3, to be sure that it will correspond to the need of the shippers, and to also to meet people, to see what is the activity on the terminal. And the best way to do that is to go there. Next step is analyzing return flow. Naturally, you know, because shippers, sorry, shippers shared their data, but when you have defined a common destination for shippers, you have to study what is the return flows, because you know that the train will have to come back to the departure terminal, and the profitability of the lane will be naturally balanced by return flows. And so this study is really key. Next step, integrating transport operators. So from the beginning, we have meetings with shippers to organize a massification collaboration. So naturally, you will need several meetings to agree on how you work, on how you get data. When you have decided common destinations, what are the best destination to work on? In the meeting, you have only shippers because they do the same job, if I can say that. But at this time, you have to integrate operators, transport operators, and the neutral body can pre-identify and pre-qualify transport operators to help you to find the best for your collaboration work. And involving naturally integrated transport operators will help you also to define what is the service level you want, what are the different services they can offer. And it will naturally allow shippers to make decisions. It won't be the neutral body who make the decision. The neutral body is only there to pre-identify transport operators, but not at all to make a decision for shippers. And the last but not least steps is formalizing the contract between the actors. Because naturally we need a contract between the shippers as a final and essential steps to formalize the agreements between the several stakeholders. And you know that it will be a long-term commitment, so it is very important to sign a contract. So what is the feedback or our feedback regarding massification? So we need to start by prospecting, as this initiative is not spontaneous. It could be surprising, but it is so. Shippers from different worlds in the same territory rarely know each other. And they have yet often common destinations, but they don't know that. There is a need to gain the trust of shippers so that they agree to entrust us with their customer data, as I said, often in Excel format, who, what, where, frequencies, volumes. Their governance must accept that. And it's easier when we are a neutral player like Chamber of Commerce and Industry, for example, and they could probably ask a non-disclosure agreement to accept to share data. So 80% of volumes are donated by large shippers, but the balance of the rail link often comes from complements from smaller shippers. Naturally, it is the remaining 20% for smaller shippers. So nothing works if we don't have the return volume, which is why we need to prospect for shippers at the other end. So I talked about departure terminal, and it's very important to prospect at the arrival terminal when the destination has been chosen. For manufacturer, you need regular, scheduled connection, no break in just-in-time production. Otherwise, they are not interested in one-off services. It is, I said, a long-term commitment, if you decide to go to rail, you will decide to use rail for years. You need to talk figures very quickly to be able to compare solutions between modes, and supply chain manager often have surprisingly little knowledge of multimodality. When certain members of the shippers teams change jobs, that naturally appears and happens, everything has to be rebuilt with the newcomers who don't always have the same priorities nor the same leadership. And that's sometimes difficult to say, but that's life. On the railways, decision-making processes are long and involved, so there can be erosion and impatience. So if you decide to begin a massification team or group, it could be long, and everybody has to know that at the beginning to stay and to persevere until the end. Above all, don't include role hauliers or freight forwarders in groups, as they take advantage of the opportunity to sell their services on the side once contact has been made. So as I said at the beginning, you will have only shippers on the group. Finally, external factors can stop you in your tracks. So it could be geopolitics, it could be COVID, like for the Cluster 2.0 project. So everything can sometimes be a barrier to go further. So that's it for me, and I wish you could launch a massification group. Thank you for your attention. I leave you the floor, Katia.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for that. So that was also very, very interesting, and to put it in the perspective of European rail freight transports, always striving to have more of them and to have a higher share in the modal share, basically, of transports dedicated to rail. And so if we can have initiatives like that to massify this flux, it is very, very interesting. It was very detailed, so thank you for that. I'm going to be mindful of the time. I saw that we have one question that popped up, so if anyone else has another one, we might be able to take two, but I don't want to keep everyone very late. So let's go over the question from Laurent, and then maybe we'll see if we have another one. So the question from Laurent is, it's not towards one person in particular, so whoever wants to take it, please feel free to do so. So the question is, all initiatives for rail services through the channel tunnel fail or do not last long. Why? And he's mentioning like GB Cargo, Europort, stuff like that. Do any of you want to take that one?
Yeah, maybe. What we know is in 2010, Eurotunnel started a scheme called Etica. It was a scheme to help a new entrants, rail freight entrants, to start their business, and it worked very well, and everything was going all right. But in 2015, we had the migrant crisis, and this, we've lost something like 80% of the Eurotunnel, I believe, lost 80% of the intermodal services. Okay, this all the trade has been shifted to the North Sea route. But since quick action has been taken, Eurotunnel built a scanner, a tunnel scanners. They built a lot of. It has been a lot of a fence put around the site, but also a drone. So the world has changed. Okay, now it is a secure site. We don't have the problem. They don't have the problem no more. And the world has changed as well. Now, like we explained, decarbonization is a big topic. So now there is demand for freight. So and we need to, like I said, explained earlier, there is a transformative transport model. We all need to work together because the alternative is catastrophic. That is my answer.
Maybe we can add some unspecific information about tunnel. I don't think that I think the rail freight has gone through difficult times, very difficult times on the French side as a start, and I don't think that the failure or the don't last long characteristic of rail freight is specific to the tunnel. There has been some difficulties all around in France. Some fail elsewhere in France and Europe. Many exogenous things came to make some difficulties. There has been some strikes 2 years from now in the rail infrastructure network. There has been electricity problem, the price of electricity problem. So I think the whole rail sector is in difficulty. So this is why we need to promote it like we do it today.
Thank you both for that. I think that was quite a complimentary answer and very thorough since you people answered. So thank you very much. In the meantime, we got one more question. So I'm going to take that one, and then I will leave you all to go and maybe have lunch since it's midday. So this one is from Gareth. Gareth, I don't know how you say that. That's for Patrice. So the question is, it's really interesting that only £50 million are required for Folkestone to Wembley, but that does not seem like very much for raising bridges and tunnels. So he's wondering if it's an estimate or if it goes from some network well study that has been made. What is it paying for? Like if you have basically more information about that number.
Okay, so this information come from a report that was commissioned by Volterra Consultant. In 2022, they've done this report and estimated the cost at less than 50 million. So this report was to emphasize the need and the benefits that the rail freight through the Channel Tunnel, through the Wembley to Folkestone route, okay, will bring to the society. I hope I answered the question, yeah?
I think you did. Thank you very much, Patrice, for that. So we're going to be stopping there. You have one last poll that's going on, just to know if you've enjoyed your time with us. That's always very interesting to know. I am also going to do a little promo moment and add you the link to the RailTech Summit that Eversense is organizing. That's part of that RailTech community, and as such as well, this webinar. If you want to join us at the end of the year in November in Paris, that would be amazing. We'd love to have you there. Coming back to what we just discussed, thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and to our amazing speakers for today. It was very interesting. I'm sorry we did not take more questions. I'm really trying to be mindful of everyone's time. But if you do have more questions or comments, you have all our contacts here. That will also be present in the recap email that we'll send to everyone with the replay. So yeah, absolutely don't hesitate to reach out again. And once more, thank you to all our amazing speakers today. It was pretty great and very, very interesting.
Okay, Katia, quickly, maybe I will add to my answer. I'm sorry for this. It's just Gareth sometime as well. it's not a question of raising bridges or tunnels. It is just playing with the ballast, okay? During the temper operation, it's just lowering the ballast, okay? So it's not always a question of a big infrastructure jobs. That's all. Sorry for this.
No worries. Yeah, okay. He answered that he understood, so we're good. So thank you, everyone, and I will leave you to go back to your day, and I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.